again. I do apologize for what happened earlier today. There's just how can I put this? The arrangement of events that had happened over like the last 4 to 5 hours has been rather daunting, and it causes a major strain here. And I will be talking a little bit about that and a couple other things here. We're going to have Elaine up in the chat here because she couldn't come back here. And we're going to talk about a few things that had happened. The reason why today's show got knocked off the air. And we're going to also welcome the people over there in LinkedIn land here. So we are now connected to LinkedIn instead of Facebook as of right now. There's Don Milo. How's it going here? Don, if you could do me a favor here, let Parallax know that we're back up and running for tonight's episode temporarily, because I do have a lot to talk about, a lot to explain about what happened with today's episode here. And we're going to do a couple more things, talk about a couple more things that's going on here. And the main thing that I have to talk about here, why everything went awry, all starts with Facebook. Yeah. Facebook, in their infinite wisdom today, decided to give me all these different messages about they removed one of my posts here. And I'm not certain if Carl Wisman is around or Donna is around, but the post that got removed was something that was in his secret humor group. And it turns out that one of Facebook's AI bots goes out there and looks at the meme that I posted here that, was posted in reference to something that somebody else said in that group here, and decides, oh, it's inappropriate. It goes against our standards here. So I was like, okay, fine. It's like, if they're going to slap me on the hand for an inappropriate post, that's fine. I'm okay with it until I start reading what they actually trying to slap my hand for. So the more I delve into it, the more I read it, and I was like, okay, let me see what they're trying to delete here. They wouldn't let me see the meme or the post that was there. They said, oh yeah, it was a post from the Uncle Carl Secret Humor Group from 2021, almost 4 years ago. It was, and I even specifically stated in the comment, it was a meme that somebody else here that I was referring to something else. They flagged it. The AI bots flagged it, not as just something that's just inappropriate. It flagged it for something that is sexually inappropriate for sexual child exploitation. I'm livid. I'm livid enough to leave Facebook over something like this, and over accusation or something like that with unsubstantiated proof. So yes, I sent it out for review, but in the meantime, this is why I have no access to Facebook at this point until I think it's like the 29th, which it would make the 29th would be Sunday or Monday. Oh yeah, I'm still going to say some choice words, some colorful adjectives, because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense here. Yeah, so I probably won't be able to post until like either late Sunday or early Monday. So that's one of the reasons why nobody could get to me on Facebook, or I can't respond to anything on Facebook, because they did that to me about 2:33 o'clock. So yeah, I sent it out to review. There's nothing I can do for that. Not only did they shut down my own personal profile, they shut down the company page and all this other stuff that's linked to me. Now I'm able to post to Instagram and everything to that magnitude without any problems there. but I'm not going to expand upon it because technically they do kind of own portions of Instagram. But I'm out here on YouTube and LinkedIn for right now to kind of warn you guys about what's going on with these AI bots and Facebook, because they're hitting people for stuff several years ago. Because that was several years ago. I could understand it was something recent, but this was several years ago. And I'm up here, it's like, what? You guys made an update to your AI bots, and now all of a sudden they think something that has been out there for years is now all automatically inappropriate. You know, if it wasn't caught then, when you had, to me, where you had stricter guidelines as far as community is concerned, and you have people monitoring. I'm talking about physical people monitoring this stuff. Now all of a sudden an AI bot comes along, it's like, oh, we forgot about this one. No. So yeah, I'm really thinking about just dropping Facebook at this point. And the reason I'm thinking about it really, really hard is mainly because of the simple fact that the more people are going to start to rely on AI, and the more live people are going to become scarce, you're going to have to put up with this nonsense. And this nonsense, even though it's 3 days, 3 days to a business could mean thousands of dollars worth of money being lost, all because of a misjudgment or something that was not being seen correctly by an AI bot. You just don't do that to people. Now, mind you, we all have to follow the rules. I'm not saying that nobody's above the rules here. It would be a different if I was up here saying, yeah, this, I broke the rules, something to that magnitude. It's like, no, I didn't break anybody's rules. The meme was, again, shared for someone else. So it's not like I created something. I'm getting my hand slapped for something that I shared for somebody else. And that doesn't, to me, that's not a good thing. That's never a good thing when you're slapping somebody's hand for somebody else creating something of that magnitude here. Let me get to some of the comments here, because like I said before, this impacted even tonight's episode of Comic Book Spectrum, because we're supposed to be talking about some positive things. And what I'm positive about right now is, Zuckerberg needs to go suck something. That's what he needs to go. You can do right now, because this is beyond freaking ridiculous. Now, like I said in the very beginning, there's a perfect storm here, because when we first started the program tonight, for this episode tonight, I wasn't too far from updating my laptop to Windows 11. So everything was working perfectly fine and everything, but the one thing that I didn't test before we started the show was the audio drivers. For some reason, the audio drivers was not picking up correctly. Therefore, I had no computer speaker. People could hear me. I couldn't hear them. It wasn't until after I started trying to play videos and stuff just to make certain that I could hear people is when I determined that, oh, we may have to restart everything. I might have to, we might have to close it out for the night, depending on whether or not Elaine was truly having issues with her audio. Because if we both having issues with audio, the night wasn't meant to be. Turns out that she was okay. It was me. I finally got the drivers on there while we was, fiddling around trying to figure out what was going on. That's the reason I came back out here, because you guys, our audience, deserve better. You need to know what's going on. Even when we have technical difficulties, you need to hold us accountable. So my accountability for this here today is that because of the audio drivers having to reinstall them after the Windows 11 update, we finally got everything together. I'm able to hear everything. We're good to go. So we should be ready to rock and roll come this Saturday from the Desk of a Small Press Publisher, and be ready to hit it hard this upcoming Thursday here. So like I said, we got Don Milo here. It's like, yeah, hey Don, Facebook sucks. Yep, it does. And there's Parallax. Everybody's greeting one another. Yep. And it's like AI sucks. Yep. And she hurt me. She hurt me before the show because I was still coming down. I was still coming down off of that adrenaline anger high. Like I said, it wasn't the fact that they slapped my hand. It was what they slapped my hand for, because stuff like that, that type of accusation, to me, is an arrestable offense here. If it was truly that, if I was truly sharing something of that ilk. And no way, in shape or form, do I want any type of social media ever accuse me of something like that without actual proof. Ever. And more people need to take up a stand for that, because if their AI bots are going around flagging stuff like that and it's getting reported, it's getting stored in their database, you need to really put your foot down and be like, hey, that's unsubstantiated. Not only do you need to review this and make certain that it meets the standards, you also need to remove the accusation if it's proven false. So it is what it is here. Okay, so yeah, Sunday is the 29th. So I'm going to say Monday would be when I'm able to post here. No, not the post was from a year ago, 4 years ago. The post was 4 years ago, 2021. So that tells me they made a change to one of their AI bots. It got out there free and willy-nilly, and now all of a sudden this type of stuff happens here. And she said I get Facebook jailed all the time, yeah, for nonsense. And like I said, I don't mind, being in Facebook jail, but put me in Facebook jail for something that I truly did wrong. Now, if it's a dispute between the content of the image, okay, fine. I'm good with that. But the classification that you put it up under is where I have to draw the line, because you have nothing to state to say that it is just that here. Your AI bot is just, filing up under a category that is nowhere near close. Yeah, more like a couple years ago. Yep. Nope. They locked me down completely. Now you have to be mindful that my profile is more of a business account. So they locked me out completely. They said it's for your own safety. My own safety. And I was like, okay, if it's for my own safety, then allow me to do whatever I need to do to lock down my account for nobody else can use it here. But to lock me out of it, to say that I can't post anything, I can't respond to anything, I can't even respond to anything on the company page, I can't do nothing that is Facebook related right now. That includes Messenger. So that's why I was trying to tell Elaine in StreamYard to use the private chat here. I could talk to you here. I couldn't talk to you on Facebook. Just like with you, Parallax. I told you on Instagram what was going on. And I was up here, I was like, and you kept going on Messenger. It's like, she didn't listen to me. She didn't see that I told you that I can't do it on Facebook because of this type of nonsense. But it is what it is. And yet they don't ban the bots who pretend to be celebrities. Again, the wonders of the digital age, or the creeps that's on their, on the dating apps. Yep. It is what it is. Lainey, Lainey, I am Henry Curville. I love you, and the money to fly back to. Yep. Please get Google Play card and give me numbers. Yeah, no, you didn't wreck the show. No, like I said, it was just a perfect storm of a lot of different stuff here, because like I said, Cliff couldn't show up today. Then you was having a little bit of audio troubles. I had audio troubles, the stuff with Facebook here, because when we start the show, even Elaine saw that it's like we couldn't broadcast to our company page. So that's how I knew that everything got locked down. I knew that my messenger got shut down because they wouldn't allow me to do that. I can see posts, but I can't respond to nothing here. I can't respond to anything. So I need cookies right now. Yep. So blue sky is worse as they shut down your as they shut down your profile, you don't even get the chance to defend yourself. That is true. At least I can't ask for a review and gave them a reason why it should be reviewed, because technically I was responding to somebody else with a meme. It was not meant to be mean spirited or anything to that magnitude here. So that's one of the reasons why I was hoping that Carl and Donna was here, because if they hit me with that from 4 years ago, that group, they probably got hit with some other stuff from that group as well. I just, you never just know. You never just know here. But that's something that you really, really, really have to stay on top of. Especially if you're a business, your social media presence could make or break you. Good thing that we still have our own company website. We still have other outlets like YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitch and other places where we can still show these videos and stuff at here. But you, the audience, deserve better to know what is actually happening as it's happening here. It's like there was no excuse for what happened earlier for this show here. That's the reason why I came back out with a part 2, just for you guys to know exactly what is happening here. And oh man, they could be locked out completely. That is true. That is true. But like I said before, it makes me wonder about staying with Facebook after this. Mainly not because of being hit with the removal. That part doesn't bother me. It's just the subject that they said that they hit me for. And I'm up there, I was like, you sure that your AI bots are correct? It's like you're really flagging people for stuff and everything that could be really, really damaging and could get into things like libel. So, when I first found out this afternoon, trust me, I was a lot more animated than anything else, because I was more concerned about, I was like, what post that what meme that I could ever put out there that could be considered that. And I just couldn't fathom anything to that nature here. But with that being said and done here, we're going to try to do a little bit of what we typically do is comic book review here. And the comic book review here is going to be the Luchaverse Catalyst series, issues 1 through 3. And the reason why I was actually kind of happy to do these books here until everything else started happening here. But long story short about this series here, it's definitely not what I thought it was going to be here. Now, for the Luchaverse Catalyst, people know that I'm kind of sort of into pro wrestling, and I do write a pro wrestling comic book. So this is kind of supposed to be kind of up my alley here, right? Not so much. Is it a bad book? No. It's not to my expectation here, because I'm up here. It's like everything that you're seeing here as far as the cover is kind of like hyping up more or less like the wrestling aspect of it in some form or some fashion. But when you get into the story, it is more about outside the ring and all these different legends that they have to fight against in real life, as opposed to everything else. So in other words, it's more along the lines that Massive got the rights and privileges to use these wrestler likeness to tell like if I could say, kind of like a small universe story where they are different soldiers per se in this whole catalyst that's happening within the universe that they created. Is it good? It's all right. It's all right. I mean, it's that, like I said, it's not what I was looking for. When I look for wrestling books here, I'm actually looking for actual wrestling. I'm not looking for like with Rey Mysterio. It's like they had the whole thing about how, you know, he was trained in like this monastery, and how, you know, he followed the old school luchador way from a different aspect here, and the whole thing about the sacred mask. And it was just like, okay, I see where you guys are going with this here. And you know, they were up here, you know, showing how with Conan, they, you know, he was going to be kind of like, you know, behind the scenes trying to make certain that everything works out properly behind the scenes, monitoring the situation, but he had to get his hands involved in everything to that magnitude, as far as keeping the shifting of, if I could say, I can't remember the actual terminology that they use off the top of my head, but it was this specialized conflict that all of the wrestlers were being involved in. Overall, the series wasn't that bad. It wasn't really that bad, but like I said, it's not really up my alley. Is it a good read for those who like action? Yeah, it's a pretty decent read for those who like action. So on that note, I'm giving Lucha vs. Catalyst, I'll say about a 7 out of 10. Like I said, it's not really up my alley. It's not bad, but it's not the greatest thing since Wonder Bread either. I mean, it's a good read for those who just want popcorn type action here. So that is kind of good here. And Layton, that is a pretty good description of that. That is a pretty good description of this series. It is kind of more like Luchadors meet Power Rangers, or Luchadors slowly becoming that team that will maybe become Power Rangers. And Parallax is saying Beanie agrees with you here. So on that note, that is what's really going on here. That's the reason why we kind of cut this show short tonight here. It has nothing to do with Elaine. It had nothing to do with Cliff not being here. It had nothing to do with a lot of different stuff here. It was just more of like the perfect storm where there's a lot of bad stuff going on here. Me being pissed off with Facebook just led into all the rest of the stuff happening, and it just felt like dominoes. And instead of just being up here torturing you guys with feedback and all this bad sound quality, I just said, let's cut it off. Let's just walk away from it for a minute. Fortunately, I was able to get the sound drivers back to the way that it was supposed to work here. That way we still be held, we could be held accountable for what was going on and explain to you the technical difficulties before the day ended. So hopefully that explains everything here. And unfortunately, we did not do a good deal here for our sponsor tonight here, which is Jeffrey Hayes of Plasma Fire Graphics. If you need a new cover for your book or comic book or graphic novel, this is the person that you need to hit up here. And if you don't believe me, just take a good gander at this video right here.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
And there you have it. That is Jeffrey Hayes of Plasma Fire Graphics. You can hit him up at plasmafiregraphics.com or his Facebook group, plasmafiregraphics.com. As far as me, I will be back here Saturday for another episode of From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher. Hopefully things got a little bit better from then. Plus, we're going to have some new comic book pickups of the week because new stuff did come in today. And we'll probably talk about a couple more things along the line of accountability for the projects and stuff that I've been working on, plus stuff that the scuttlebutt that goes on behind the scenes with the comic book industry. Another thing that kind of ticked me off here was something that Tori showed me before. It showed me about what happened at Heroes Con and everything, and it was talking about a certain ilk of people, which again, I'm probably not going to talk about it, but if it does come up, I do have other choice words to say, because to me, when it really comes down to this industry that we call comics, it's better to keep your nose down and do the work than to worry about associations that does not really, if I could say, help you in the long run. On that note, unlike Brian K. Morris, I don't care if you wash your hands, but never, and I do mean never, apologize for being awesome. And I do thank you for being awesome, for coming back here on part 2, for you could at least know what was going on here and why we cut the show short today here. I will be back Saturday, and I will see you then. As I always say, live life, grow, and be well, and we are out of here. Thank you so much for coming back and getting the actual explanation, and I'll see you next Thursday right here on Comic Book Spectrum. Bye.